Hello and welcome. Let's start with a question and let's be honest with ourselves. Let's talk about that favorite armchair of yours. You know the one. Is a little mid-afternoon rest in that chair starting to feel less like a choice and more like a necessity? Do you find yourself nodding off while reading a book or watching the news, only to wake up an hour or two later feeling groggy, a bit disoriented, and wondering where the afternoon went? If that sounds familiar, you are certainly not alone. Studies from around the world show that up to 60% of older adults take regular daytime naps. But here's something that might surprise you, and it's the very reason we're talking today. Groundbreaking new research from leading institutions like the University of California, San Francisco has uncovered a startling connection. They found that older adults who nap for more than an hour a day have a staggering 40% higher risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. Now, this isn't something you're likely to discuss in a quick 15-minute checkup. We're going to talk about what your daily fatigue and your napping habits might really be telling you. Because often, that powerful urge to nap is a signal, a message from your body that something else is going on just beneath the surface. And if you've been telling yourself, well, this is just what getting older feels like, I am here today to respectfully and powerfully challenge that idea. Feeling energetic, sharp, and in control of your days is not something reserved only for the young. In the next 25 minutes, we are going on a deep dive. We're not here to scare you or to tell you to stop napping. We're here to empower you. We will uncover the 10 most common and often hidden reasons behind that powerful urge to nap. And more importantly, we'll give you a practical toolkit of strategies to help you reclaim your energy and your nights starting today. The problem we're tackling today is that persistent daytime sleepiness that so often pushes you into long or frequent naps. These naps, while they might feel good in the moment, can then sabotage your nighttime sleep, creating a vicious cycle. And as we're now learning, this cycle may be linked to more serious health concerns down the road. Our goal today is to help you transform your understanding of napping, to see it not as a sign of weakness or just getting older, but as a valuable diagnostic tool that you can use to take back control of your health. To do this, we're not relying on guesswork or old wives' tales. We'll be drawing on the latest research and guidelines from some of America's most trusted health institutions, including the National Institute on Aging, Johns Hopkins Medicine, the Mayo Clinic, and crucial studies published in journals from the American Heart Association. To make all this information easy to follow and digest, we're going to structure our conversation as a countdown. We'll count down the top 10 hidden culprits that drive that need for daytime napping. For each one, we'll explore the why, the simple science behind it, and then we'll discuss a clear, practical action step you can take. We'll start with some foundational lifestyle factors and build our way up to the real game changers. You'll definitely want to stick around for our top 3 culprits. We'll be talking about a very common, yet often unseen health condition that affects millions of seniors and has daytime sleepiness as its #1 symptom. And we will unpack, in detail, that startling link between your napping habits and the long-term health of your heart and your brain. And of course, a quick but very important reminder: I am not a doctor, and this video is for informational and educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice from your personal physician. Always consult your doctor for any questions about your health, especially before making any changes to your routine or medications. All right, let's get started. All right, let's kick off our countdown. Coming in at number 10 is one of the simplest and most frequently overlooked culprits behind that afternoon slump: chronic, low-grade dehydration. It might seem almost too simple to be true, but the science is crystal clear. Every single cell in your body, from your brain to your muscles, needs water to produce energy. When you're even slightly dehydrated, your cellular energy production slows down, your blood volume can decrease, and your heart has to work harder to pump oxygen and nutrients where they need to go. All of this translates directly into feelings of fatigue, lethargy, and brain fog. Think of your body like a high-performance engine. Water is the coolant. Without enough of it, the engine overheats and gets sluggish. You don't have to be lost in the desert to feel these effects. I think of my neighbor, Carol. She was always so tired in the afternoons, just completely wiped out by 2 p.m. She told me she drank fluids all day long, but it turned out her fluids were mostly coffee and diet soda. She didn't realize that the caffeine in those drinks can act as a diuretic, actually causing her to lose more fluid than she was taking in. The profound fatigue she was feeling wasn't a lack of sleep. Your action step here is straightforward. Don't wait until you feel thirsty. Thirst is actually a late sign that your body is already in a state of dehydration. A great strategy is to get a 32-ounce water bottle and make it your mission to sip it steadily and finish it by lunchtime. Then, refill it and aim to finish the second one by dinner time. It's about steady sipping, not chugging. Another fantastic tip is to eat your water by including hydrating foods like cucumbers, watermelon, oranges, and soups in your daily diet. Now, of course, if your fatigue is accompanied by other symptoms like very dark-colored urine, persistent dizziness, confusion, or a rapid heartbeat, that could be a sign of more significant dehydration. In that case, it's definitely time to check in with your healthcare provider. So we've covered what you put in your body in terms of liquid. But what you get out of your body in terms of energy is just as dependent on what's on your plate. That brings us directly to culprit number 9. Coming in at number 9 is the nutritional roller coaster, eating foods that set you up for a dramatic energy crash, making that afternoon nap feel absolutely inevitable. Foods that are high in simple sugars and refined carbohydrates, think white bread, pastries, sugary cereals, and sodas, cause a very rapid spike in your blood sugar. In response, your body releases a surge of the hormone insulin to manage all that sugar. What follows that surge is the classic crash, which leaves you feeling foggy, irritable, and overwhelmingly sleepy. It's a frustrating cycle of highs and lows. In contrast, meals that are well-balanced with lean protein, healthy fats, and fiber-rich complex carbohydrates, like whole grains, beans, and vegetables, provide a slow, steady release of energy. This keeps you on an even keel all day long, preventing those peaks and valleys that lead to fatigue. My Uncle Frank used to have a big bowl of sweetened cereal for breakfast and a sandwich on plain white bread for lunch. And like clockwork, by 2 p.m., he'd be sound asleep in his chair, completely out of commission. He decided to make a change. He switched to oatmeal with berries for breakfast and a big salad with some grilled chicken for lunch. He told me the difference was like night and day. He wasn't fighting that afternoon food coma anymore because it simply wasn't happening. Your action step is to consciously build an energy-steady plate. At each meal, try to include a source of lean protein, like fish, chicken, eggs, or beans, a source of healthy fat, like avocado or a handful of nuts, and a complex carbohydrate, like sweet potatoes, brown rice, or quinoa. And pay close attention to timing. Try to avoid large, heavy meals within 2 or 3 hours of your bedtime, as the digestive process can disrupt your sleep architecture. Many people find that eating smaller, more frequent meals throughout the day helps keep their energy stable. If you experience persistent fatigue even after improving your diet, it's very important to talk to your doctor. Unexplained fatigue can be a key symptom of underlying conditions like anemia, thyroid issues, or diabetes, and it's crucial to rule those out. Building a better plate is a fantastic step, but even the best fuel in the world can't power an engine that never moves. This leads us directly to culprit number 8. At number 8, we have a true paradox of human energy. The less you move, the more tired you feel. This is what we call the sedentary spiral, and it's a major and often misunderstood driver of daytime fatigue. It seems completely counterintuitive, but regular physical activity is one of the most powerful tools we have for increasing our energy and dramatically improving the quality of our sleep. Exercise boosts circulation, improves your body's ability to use oxygen efficiently, and helps regulate mood and energy-related hormones. Most importantly, a wealth of research shows that consistent exercise, especially a combination of aerobic activities and strength training, significantly improves the quality of your nighttime sleep, making it deeper and more restorative. When your night sleep is better, your need for day sleep plummets. This creates a cycle, which can either be vicious or virtuous. Low energy leads to less motivation to exercise. A sedentary lifestyle then leads to poorer sleep quality and reduced energy production at a cellular level. This results in even lower energy the next day, which creates a stronger urge to nap and remain sedentary. But the good news is that you can break this cycle. Even small amounts of movement can create a virtuous cycle. Movement leads to better sleep, which leads to more energy, which makes it easier to move. A friend of mine, Shirley, who is in her late 70s, thought her days of feeling energetic were long gone. She was tired all the time. Her doctor suggested she join a water aerobics class at the local senior center. She was hesitant, thinking it would just make her more tired. But she went. Within a month, she wasn't just feeling stronger. Your action step is to find a form of movement you genuinely enjoy and aim for consistency. You don't need to run a marathon. The research points to a combination of aerobic exercise, like brisk walking, swimming, or dancing, and strength training, using light weights or resistance bands, as being most effective for sleep quality. The goal is about 150 minutes of moderate intensity activity a week. That's just a little over 20 minutes a day. And remember the golden rule. Try not to exercise within 3 hours of your bedtime, as that can sometimes be too stimulating and interfere with sleep. It's always wise to check with your doctor before starting a new exercise program, especially if you have chronic conditions like heart disease or arthritis. If you ever experience chest pain, unusual shortness of breath, or dizziness during activity, you should stop immediately and seek medical advice. Getting your body moving is crucial, but what about your mind and your daily schedule? For many, the transition into retirement can create a void that sleepiness rushes in to fill. That brings us to number 7. Number 7 on our list is a powerful and often emotional one: the loss of structure and social connection that can come with retirement, leading to a kind of scheduleless fatigue. Our bodies and minds thrive on routine. The daily schedule of a job, waking up at a certain time, commuting, interacting with colleagues, having set meal times, provides powerful cues for our internal body clock, our circadian rhythm. When that external structure disappears, our sleep-wake cycle can become weak and fragmented. Furthermore, a large body of research now shows that social isolation and loneliness are strongly linked to poor sleep quality and even depression. A day without meaningful engagement can feel long, unstructured, and empty, making a long nap seem like a welcome escape. The need to nap here isn't just about physical tiredness. I spoke with a gentleman named David who had recently retired after 40 years as an accountant. He told me he was bored, lonely, and found himself sleeping for hours every afternoon. He felt his life was shrinking. On a whim, he started volunteering at the local library twice a week, helping people with their taxes. Suddenly, he had a reason to get up, a place to be, and people to talk to. His naps naturally shortened, his mood lifted, and he felt like he had a purpose again. The cure for his fatigue wasn't more rest. Your action step is to consciously rebuild structure and connection in your day. This could mean scheduling a daily walk with a friend, joining a book club or a gardening group, taking a class at the community college, or volunteering for a cause you care about. Even small things, like setting a consistent time for your meals and waking up at the same time each day, can provide powerful anchors for your body clock. The goal is to give your brain and body a reason to be awake and alert. If your feelings of loneliness are persistent and accompanied by a loss of interest in activities you once enjoyed, a consistently low mood, or feelings of hopelessness, it's very important to talk to your doctor. These can be signs of depression, which is a treatable medical condition that has a major impact on sleep and energy. Creating a fulfilling daily routine is key, and a huge part of that routine is where you end your day. A bedroom that isn't optimized for rest can be the #1 saboteur of a good night's sleep, which leads us to culprit number 6. At number 6, we're looking at your immediate surroundings. Is your bedroom a true sanctuary for sleep? Or has it become an obstacle course that your brain has to navigate every single night? Your brain relies heavily on environmental cues to know when it's time to power down for the night. 3 things are absolutely critical: light, temperature, and noise. Light, and especially the blue light that comes from our televisions, tablets, and phones, actively suppresses the production of melatonin, the key hormone that tells your body it's time to sleep. Your core body temperature also needs to drop slightly to initiate and maintain sleep. So a room that's too warm can interfere with that natural process. And of course, noise can easily pull you out of the lighter stages of sleep, which become much more common as we age. For seniors, whose internal circadian signals may already be a bit weaker, these external cues become disproportionately important. A bedroom with even minor flaws, a bit too much light from a street lamp, a thermostat set a degree too warm, can cause multiple micro-awakenings throughout the night. You may not even remember them in the morning, but the cumulative effect is fragmented, non-restorative sleep, which leads directly to that feeling of being drained the next day and the powerful urge to nap. My own mother couldn't figure out why she was so tired every day. It turned out she was falling asleep with the television on every single night. She thought it helped her relax, but that flickering light was disrupting her melatonin production all night long. We got her a simple white noise machine to listen to instead, and the difference in her morning energy was remarkable. Your action step is to perform a sleep sanctuary audit. Your goal is to create a room that is as cool, dark, and quiet as possible. Experts recommend aiming for a temperature around 65 degrees Fahrenheit. Use blackout curtains or a comfortable sleep mask to block out all sources of light. Make a firm rule to turn off all screens, TVs, computers, phones, at least an hour before you plan to go to sleep. And if you can't control outside noise, consider simple earplugs or a white noise machine. Finally, reinforce the mental connection between your bed and sleep. Your bed should be for sleep and intimacy only. No working, no paying bills, and no watching the evening news. While these environmental factors are huge, if you have a perfectly optimized bedroom and you still can't get a good night's sleep, that's a clear sign that something else is going on. It's time to discuss it with your doctor to explore other potential causes. Okay, let's just take a quick breath. We're halfway through our countdown. So far, we've talked about the impact of dehydration, an unbalanced diet, a sedentary lifestyle, a lack of routine and social connection, and a suboptimal bedroom environment. The common thread here is that these are all things you have a tremendous amount of control over. They are small hinges that can swing very big doors when it comes to your daily energy. And by the way, if you're finding this information helpful and empowering, do me a small favor and tap that like button down below. It doesn't cost you a thing, but it tells YouTube that this is valuable content, and it helps other folks just like you find this community and this vital information. Thank you for that. Now, are you ready for the top 5? This is where we get into the heavy hitters, the factors that can have the most profound impact on your daily energy and your long-term health. Let's dive right into number 5. Coming in at number 5 is something that sits in the medicine cabinet of millions of seniors across the country: the side effects of common prescription medications. As we get older, we're more likely to be on one or more medications for chronic conditions. And while these drugs can be absolutely life-saving, many of them list fatigue and drowsiness as a primary side effect. Let's look at a few of the most common culprits. Beta blockers, which are widely prescribed for high blood pressure, work by slowing your heart rate. This is great for your blood pressure, but it can also reduce blood flow and make you feel tired and sluggish. Certain antidepressants, especially older types called tricyclics, directly impact the brain neurotransmitters that regulate wakefulness. And even some common over-the-counter antihistamines, particularly those containing diphenhydramine found in PM formulas, are powerful sedatives that can leave you feeling groggy the next day. This can create what's known as a polypharmacy cascade. The medication-induced fatigue isn't just a nuisance. I remember my father-in-law, Bill. He was put on a beta blocker for his heart and started feeling incredibly drained. He began taking long afternoon naps, which then made him feel wired and anxious at night. He just assumed it was his age catching up with him. At his next checkup, he happened to mention it to his doctor, who switched him to a different class of blood pressure medication. The profound fatigue lifted within a week. It wasn't his age at all. Your action step here is to become a medication detective. Now, this is critical. Do not, and I repeat, do not stop taking any prescribed medication on your own. Instead, make a list of all your prescriptions, over-the-counter drugs, and any supplements you take. Schedule an appointment with your doctor or your pharmacist specifically to review this list and ask the simple question: could any of these be contributing to my fatigue? Sometimes, a simple change in the dosage, the timing of when you take it, or the medication itself can make a world of difference. If your fatigue is severe, comes on suddenly after starting a new medication, or is accompanied by significant dizziness, weakness, or confusion, you should call your doctor's office right away. These can be signs that your dose is too high or that the medication simply isn't the right fit for you. Understanding your medications is a huge step toward taking control. But what if the issue isn't something you're taking, but a fundamental change happening inside your own brain? This brings us to the fascinating world of your internal clock and culprit number 4. At number 4, we have one of the most fundamental and widely misunderstood aspects of sleep and aging. Your body's internal clock is simply not running on the same schedule it was 30 years ago. Deep inside your brain is a master clock called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, or SCN for short. It controls your 24-hour cycles of sleep and wakefulness, which we know as your circadian rhythm. As we get older, this clock undergoes a natural and predictable shift called a phase advance. Here's a simple way to think about it. Imagine your internal clock is like a reliable old grandfather clock. It still keeps perfect time, but over the decades, it has slowly drifted a couple of hours ahead. It's not broken. The core problem here is the mismatch between our social clock and our biological clock. The afternoon fatigue and the subsequent nap are often a direct result of ignoring the body's new, earlier sleep signals. A person tries to stay up until 10 or 11 p.m. to watch the news or socialize with family, pushing right through their body's natural 8 p.m. sleep window. This creates a mini sleep debt, which then manifests as overwhelming sleepiness the next afternoon. The nap isn't the problem. A woman in our community, Eleanor, was so frustrated. She would force herself to stay up until 10:30 p.m. every night, but then she'd wake up wide awake at 3:30 a.m., unable to get back to sleep. Then, of course, she'd be exhausted by 2 p.m. and need a long nap. She decided to run an experiment. She started winding down at 7:30 p.m. and was in bed by 8:30 p.m. To her absolute amazement, she started sleeping soundly until 4:30 or 5 a.m. She was getting the same amount of sleep, but by aligning with her body's clock, the quality was infinitely better, and her need for a nap completely vanished. Your action step is to stop fighting your clock and start working with it. Pay attention to when you naturally start to feel tired in the evening and try to honor that signal. Experiment with shifting your bedtime just 15 to 30 minutes earlier for a week and see how you feel. Crucially, get bright light exposure first thing in the morning. Open the curtains, have your coffee on the porch. This helps to powerfully anchor your new, earlier rhythm. Conversely, start dimming the lights in your home in the evening to encourage your body's natural melatonin production. If your sleep schedule is completely erratic, or if you're experiencing extreme daytime sleepiness despite trying to adjust your schedule, it's time for a conversation with your doctor. This could point to a more significant circadian rhythm disorder or another underlying issue that needs to be addressed. Aligning with your body's clock is a true game changer. But for millions of Americans, there's a hidden saboteur that makes quality sleep impossible, no matter what time you go to bed. This brings us to our top 3, starting with the unseen threat at number 3. Coming in at a critically important number 3 is a condition that affects up to 56% of people over the age of 65, yet often goes completely undiagnosed: obstructive sleep apnea. Sleep apnea is a disorder where your breathing repeatedly stops and then restarts while you sleep. This happens when the muscles in the back of your throat relax too much and temporarily collapse, blocking your airway. Each time this happens, your brain senses the drop in oxygen and panics, briefly waking you up just enough to restart your breathing. These awakenings can happen dozens or even hundreds of times a night, and you typically won't remember a single one of them. Here's the best analogy I've ever heard for it. Imagine trying to sleep all night while someone is gently pinching your nose shut every minute or two. You would never enter the deep restorative stages of sleep. You would wake up in the morning feeling completely exhausted, as if you'd been fighting a battle all night, because, in a way, you were. That profound exhaustion leads directly to intense daytime sleepiness and the need for frequent long naps. In fact, some research has shown that the symptoms of sleep apnea, like drowsiness and impaired cognitive function, can sometimes be misdiagnosed as early-onset dementia. A gentleman I know, George, was a notorious napper. His wife said he snored like a freight train and would sometimes gasp for air in his sleep. He just laughed it off as old man snoring. But his daytime fatigue got so bad that one day he fell asleep for a split second while driving. That was his wake-up call. He finally went for a sleep study, was diagnosed with severe sleep apnea, and started using a CPAP machine. He told me, "I didn't realize how tired I was until I wasn't tired anymore." It completely changed his life and his safety. Your action step is to take the symptoms seriously. Ask your spouse or a family member if you snore loudly, gasp, or seem to stop breathing while you sleep. Other key signs include waking up with a headache or a very dry mouth, and of course, that excessive daytime sleepiness we've been talking about. If this sounds like you, your very next step should be to make an appointment with your doctor and specifically ask for a referral to a sleep specialist. A sleep study is the only way to get a definitive diagnosis. In this case, the symptoms themselves are the red flags. Loud, chronic snoring, observed pauses in breathing, and overwhelming daytime sleepiness are not normal parts of aging. They are urgent signs to seek a medical evaluation. Getting diagnosed and treated for sleep apnea can be life-changing. It directly impacts your energy, your mood, and, as we're about to see, your heart. The need for long naps is often a signal of distress, not just from your brain, but from your cardiovascular system. This brings us to culprit number 2. We're at number 2, and this is where the conversation gets very serious. The culprit here is the long or frequent nap itself, not as a cause, but as a powerful warning sign for the health of your heart. Multiple large-scale, long-term studies, including critical research published by the American Heart Association, have found a direct and troubling link. Compared to people who don't nap, adults who regularly nap for more than 30 to 40 minutes have a significantly higher risk of developing high blood pressure and having a stroke. One major study found that people who usually nap had a 12% higher risk of developing high blood pressure and a 24% higher risk of having a stroke compared to non-nappers. Another study found that people who got less than 7 hours of sleep at night and napped for more than 30 minutes a day had the highest risk of all, a staggering 47% increase in their risk for cardiovascular disease. The critical takeaway here is that the nap is not the villain. Think of it like the oil light in your car. When that red light comes on, you don't get angry at the light bulb or try to cover it with tape. The light isn't the problem. The light is a signal that the engine needs attention. A sudden increase in your need for long afternoon naps is like that oil light flashing on your body's dashboard. It's telling you it's time to look under the hood with your doctor. Your action step is to start tracking your naps. If you find you're consistently napping for more than 40 minutes a day, or if your need to nap has increased significantly in recent months, this is a valuable piece of data to take to your doctor. You can say to them, "I've noticed a significant change in my daytime sleepiness and my napping habits. Given the research on cardiovascular health, I'd like to make sure we're looking at the big picture." This is what proactive health management looks like. If you do need a nap, research from Johns Hopkins suggests the sweet spot for a restorative power nap is between 20 and 40 minutes, taken between 1 and 3 p.m., to avoid interfering with your nighttime sleep. A consistent need for naps longer than an hour is a clear red flag. If this is combined with other potential cardiovascular symptoms like shortness of breath, new swelling in your legs or ankles, or chest discomfort, it is imperative that you see your doctor promptly. Your heart sends signals, but so does your brain. And the number one hidden danger of daytime napping is the message it might be sending about your cognitive health. And here we are, at number 1, the single most important and potentially life-altering reason to pay close attention to your napping habits. Excessive daytime napping can be one of the earliest warning signs of cognitive decline and an increased risk for Alzheimer's disease. Let's revisit that powerful statistic from the beginning of our talk. That landmark study from UC San Francisco and Harvard found that seniors who napped for more than an hour a day had a 40% higher risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. But here is the critical insight that has changed everything. Researchers now believe it's not that napping causes dementia. Instead, they believe the disease process of Alzheimer's itself may be causing the need to nap. The disease is known to damage wake-promoting neurons in key areas of the brain. As these crucial brain regions are affected, even in the very early preclinical stages before memory loss is obvious, an individual's ability to stay awake and alert during the day becomes compromised. This leads directly to longer and more frequent naps. In that same study, researchers tracked participants for years and found that the rate of napping accelerated dramatically after a diagnosis. For healthy adults, nap duration increased by about 11 minutes per year. After a diagnosis of Alzheimer's, that rate nearly tripled to 68 minutes per year. This transforms a change in napping from a simple, "I'm tired" event into a quantifiable data point that could signal an underlying neurological change. Imagine a family notices that their father, a man who never used to nap, has started sleeping for 2 hours every single afternoon. They might dismiss it, saying he's just getting older. But what this new research powerfully suggests is that this change in behavior could be a very early, very subtle signal from his brain that something is changing. It presents a chance to be proactive, to talk to a doctor, and to get a cognitive baseline rather than waiting until more significant memory problems appear. Your action step here is one of vigilant self-awareness. If you or a loved one experiences a noticeable change in napping patterns, especially a clear shift from no naps or short naps to frequent long naps that last over an hour, it is a valid and important reason to schedule a checkup and specifically discuss cognitive health with a doctor. This is not about creating panic. The red flag is the change. A sudden increase in the frequency or the duration of your naps, especially if it's accompanied by even minor memory lapses, difficulty finding the right words, or new trouble with planning and organizing, warrants an immediate conversation with your healthcare provider. So as we've journeyed from number 10 all the way down to number 1, a very clear picture has emerged. That powerful urge to nap in the afternoon is rarely just about being tired. It's a complex signal from your body. It might be telling you that you're dehydrated or that your diet needs a tune-up. It might be a sign that you need more movement or more connection in your day. It could be a side effect of your medication or a message that your internal clock has shifted. And in some cases, it can be a critical early warning sign from your heart or your brain. The most important message I want you to leave with today is this. You are the chief executive of your own health. That feeling of daytime sleepiness is not a life sentence. Now, I want to hear from you. Which of these 10 culprits was the biggest aha moment for you? Was there one that really hit home? Please take a moment to share your story in the comments section below. I read every single one, and your experience can be a source of encouragement and insight for someone else in this community. If you found this deep dive valuable and you want more practical, science-backed content to help you live your most vibrant and healthy life after 60, please take a moment to hit that subscribe button and ring the little notification bell so you don't miss our next video. Thank you so much for spending this time with me today. Remember to be kind to yourself, listen to your body, and never stop being your own best health advocate. Here's to your energy, your health, and your vitality. I'll see you in the next video.